Yes, indeed. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. Special night tonight. It's the end of the year. It's the beginning of the winter solstice. Christmas is upon us. And my friends, we are going to be talking about limiting beliefs and liberating truths. I'm so happy to have you here for tonight. If you're watching me live, let me know where you're watching me from. Give me some hearts, some cares. Get in those notifications and set me to all. Follow me, connect with me, or subscribe on my YouTube channel, wherever it is you're watching from it, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those places that I'm streaming to right now. I would love to have you know that I'm coming on live and have you ready to watch me anytime I show up. Feel free to ask questions anytime, make relevant comments, of course, and let me introduce myself. I am Coach Dean Brown, father of five, executive coach and law of attraction coach, affiliate marketer, investor, serial businessman. I empower coaches, consultants, creative business owners, and C-suite executives who struggle with a lack of results in cracking that code to become more productive while working fewer hours per day and fewer days per week so that you can reconnect with your passions. I teach how to generate more high-ticket leads, close more sales, scale revenue, yes, indeed, maximize personal and team results to facilitate the enjoyment of living life to its fullest. A brother to those that know me and a friend to those that don't. My friends, I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. So I am going to be talking about, I'm going to just bring my notes down here so I can see them, believing in the possibility. This is an important talk tonight, and I don't want to leave anything out. I want to make sure, because we're talking about limiting beliefs here. We're talking about replacing those limiting beliefs with liberating truth. We're talking about believing in the possibility of what you can do, my friends. And I want you to let me begin by considering what a truly breakthrough year might look for you. What would it look like for you? Wrap your mind around this question that's coming up right here, right now. What would it be like 12 months from now, having accomplished what's most important to you in all of your life's domains? I'm going to go through a few of the domains, starting with your finances. Everything always seems to begin and end with money. So these feel like very uncertain times, don't they? So what would it feel like to be debt-free, to have money left over at the end of the month? Imagine what it would mean to have the money you need to meet your expenses, protect yourself against the unexpected, and really invest for the future. Think how reassuring it would be to have deep savings. How satisfying it would be to give your family the things that they want and that they deserve. Let's talk about health. What would it be like for you to be in the best shape of your life? Honest question. What would it be like if you could lose those extra pounds? Maybe 20, 30, 70 pounds. I need to lose 30 pounds. By all means, what awesomeness would it be to pull on the jeans you're wearing right now at the end of this year? I mean, at the end of next year, I should say. And instead of a tight fit, you're swimming in them. How great would you feel? Next domain. Are you married or in a relationship? What would it be like to deepen and enrich your most significant relationship? Imagine a relationship where you couldn't wait to spend time together. Think of a lifetime full of intimacy, joy, friendship with someone who shares your most important priorities, your most significant goals, provides the encouragement and support you've always dreamed of having. Let's look at the spiritual world. If you're religious, if you're not religious, we all have some sort of spiritual connection. We all believe in something. What would it be like to have a real sense of something transcendent in your life, that to feel connected to that larger purpose, a bigger story? Think of what it would be like to know that you're not alone, that God was with you, watching over you and guiding you, or whatever, the universe, the quantum field, Allah, Jehovah, whatever, whoever it is that you believe in. Wouldn't it be nice to know that you're being watched and guided? Imagine waking up grateful and going to bed satisfied. Think of what it would be like to feel alive and at peace in the deepest part of your soul. Can you imagine that for yourself? I know it's difficult for many, but the question is, why? Why are these things so difficult? I didn't even talk about parenthood. I didn't go into anything about your vocation, your hobbies, the things that you like to do. But that there's so much unrest and worry in the world today. It's easy to give way to doubt. And of course, it's like bracing ourselves for the worst. But I think the reason goes even deeper, my friends. Most of us have a long history of not getting what we want out of life. Maybe you set some big goals you didn't achieve, or the future turned out totally different than you planned. I mean, I certainly didn't plan on ending up in the hospital for a month with a cancer scare. So we've all been there. Disappointment turns to frustration, and then to anger, and then to sadness, and then it twists itself into cynicism, and you end up living in hate. It's the self-protective barrier or behavior, we use to shield ourselves from future disappointment. These are all lies from our ego, my friends. The ego keeps you in the place where it thinks you're safest, and there's no growth there. It's comfortable and nothing changes. And guess what? Now you're thinking, you know what it looks like when you say, I need to apply for that new job, but then you think, there's no way. I don't have enough experience or enough education. Suddenly an idea that might take you to the next chapter of your story just withers and dies. Or maybe a friend says, hey, you and I should go to that marriage retreat this weekend, or you and your spouse or whoever. And you think, are you kidding me? I can't get them off the couch for an evening, let alone a whole weekend. So, maybe somebody would say, I think it would be awesome to run 5K. And you think, well, maybe I should. But then the cynicism sets in. Well, I'm 40 pounds overweight. I've got a sore knee. And there's no way I can run 5K. It's hard to get your hopes dashed if you never get them up to begin with, my friends. But that kind of cynicism will poison your soul and sabotage your results. Listen to me. I want you to flush that shit down the toilet right now. It's garbage. It's okay to feel disappointed. That's natural. But commit right now to banishing cynicism once and for all. Go back to those disappointments for a moment. Just think about it. It's like what Tony Robbins says. The past does not equal or determine your future. The past is gone. It's behind you. There's not a thing in the world you can do about it. Trust me, the past is closed, but the future is wide open and brimming with possibilities. That's where I want you to put your imagination, smack dab in the middle of all that possibility. Create your best year ever, the one that you've got to embrace. If you want to get to that best year ever, you've got to embrace these 3 truths right here coming up. Truth number 1, your limiting beliefs are the only thing holding you back. Truth number 2, you have more power than you think. The only thing missing is clarity. Number 3, you have more resources than you could possibly imagine. Now let's take these one at a time. We're going to go over these nice and slow. I'm going to explain it. Feel free to throw some comments or questions in the section that is down below. And let's talk about your limiting beliefs are the only thing holding you back. How many of you believe that what you believe is your problem? That your limiting beliefs, those things that you believe about yourself that are not, keeping you in the top 1% or 5%, is the actual problem. Your past cannot determine your future, my friends. And of course, many of the circumstances that seem to block us in our daily lives may only appear to do so based on a framework of assumptions that we carry with us. We just get used to believing these things. Let's draw a different frame around the set of circumstances, and let's add some new pathways. Let them come into view. When you begin to think about designing your best year ever, you've got to embrace the truth that your limiting beliefs are the only thing blocking your path. Our beliefs, yes, our beliefs, the things we believe, play a massive part in how we approach challenges. We limit our challenges rather than challenging our limits because it's comfortable. Our expectations actually shape our reality. What we believe is what we receive. It really is that simple, my friends. We must ask, believe, and receive to achieve, but we have to be in alignment to do it, my friends. So I'd like to explore this a little bit further, and we'll move on to the remaining truths. There's 2 more. I'm only talking about number 1 right here. Especially, there are 3 kinds of limiting beliefs we need to consider. First of all, there's 3 kinds of limiting beliefs. The beliefs about the world. So that's when somebody says something like, I can't start a new business right now. The market is terrible. I've heard that one before. I've even thought that one before. I know it's bullshit. Or I don't trust management as an employee, as a corporate person, as someone that has a higher authority above you. They're always trying to screw us. Or how about this one? Those politicians are going to deep six the economy and make it impossible for me to get ahead. These are global or world beliefs, but they don't necessarily mean that that's our reality. That's something that we tell ourselves to stay safe and do nothing. We've got to learn to question and even dismiss those beliefs, or they will limit our freedom and our motivation to take action. Now, the second belief I want to talk about is beliefs about others. So you might say, it's no use asking him, he's too busy to meet with me. So you never make that communication with that possibility for that big sale or that promotion or whatever the case may be. Or she's just a bean counter. What could she possibly know? And you totally discount the awareness of this person. That lady might be a wealth of information that you could make, really pick her brain and be in a better place for both of you. Or he hasn't responded yet, so I guess he must be upset with me. Now, this is something that happens a lot when we are marketers, when we are reaching out for sales connections, when we are working on connecting with people that we feel that we could help with their business, and they don't respond to us. And the first thing we think is that it's us. It's not us. It's them. You just got to realize that they're not upset with you. They're carrying on. They're busy with life. It's not that you, it's them. And they'll get back to you, but you've got to follow up. Grant Cardone, the king of follow-up. He doesn't stop at 3 follow-ups. He doesn't stop at 30 follow-ups. He goes and he teaches his team the same thing. Or here's another one. Someone like her would never go out with a person like me. Now, that's a good way to stay single, or at least end up with a partner that, is not satisfying and is more stressed than they're worth. Lots of things can go wrong when you have these limiting beliefs about other people. They're not true. These are just limiting beliefs that we let influence our thoughts and our actions, and we stay in the place of comfort. We listen to our ego. We believe that we are not good enough. Here's the third type of limiting belief. And this is where it really comes home to roost, my friends. And I'm talking about belief about ourselves. We might say, I'm a quitter. I never finish what I start. Or I can't help it. I never have been physically fit. Or I've always been terrible with money. Maybe I'm not just the creative type. You're selling yourself short, my friends. These kinds of beliefs are just pure bullshit. I'm sorry, but they are. There's only true because it's what you've convinced yourself to be true. And that's the only thing that makes it true. And you don't take any actions away from that. And these are your only, these beliefs, are only as real as our actions. I'm getting my tongue cut around my eye teeth. Can't see what I'm saying. Called a sexy moment. Or better yet, our lack of actions make them real. And they will definitely roadblock any real progress you want to make in life. It can't be changed unless you make the change. There are a million thoughts running through our heads, but we alone get to choose what we're going to believe. And it all starts with what we think. Then it's how we feel about what we think. Does that sound familiar? Are we talking about the law of attraction here, my friends? And then it's what we say about how we feel. And then we seal the deal with the actions we do or do not take. The best way to overcome these limiting beliefs is to replace them, listen to this now, with liberating truths. And please tell me that you have something you want to say. Yes, indeed, Deb. Thanks for being here. And I'm more than happy to be sharing with you, girl. And thanks for coming on. I really appreciate that. And of course, we always want to be in a place where we're sharing. And I'm looking forward to sharing more with you, Deb, in the next little while, but I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for your comment. So as we move forward, it's one of those things where, the best way to overcome limiting beliefs is to replace them with liberating truths and be in that place where we understand that we are the ones that need to make the decision. Now, one of the best examples is Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I was able to quit drinking by choice of my own. I didn't really need help with that. That's also the way I quit smoking joints, or whatever you want to call it. And researchers, but has been some research, and there's some researchers at Brown University did some Alcoholics Anonymous research, as well as some folks at UC Berkeley and the National Institute of Health. These are all places in the States. They worked together on a major study, and they found that the one thing that was the greatest difference maker for people trying to get sober was belief. Instead of saying, I can't resist a drink, people in AA find that they actually can resist. Why can they resist? Because now they believe the liberating truth as opposed to the limiting belief. And that liberating truth is change is possible. Instead of thinking, I can't get sober, they swap that for the liberating truth of something like, I can manage life's difficulties without a drink. And they actually change their limiting beliefs. So be determined to replace it with a liberating truth. Take those limiting beliefs. My tongue's having a hard time with that one. And that's because I don't believe in it. And replace it with a liberating truth. Oh, that feels good on my tongue. Liberating truth. I like that. So, of course, instead of operating from scarcity, my friends, choose to operate from a place of abundance. Yes, indeed, abundance, prosperity. That's the place to think from when you're doing your meditations. In breath with attracting something positive, out breath with releasing something negative, and use that mantra to move forward. And of course, as you do that, you will find that the more action you take, there are more resources and open doors show up, and that you will find that your circumstances improve. Of course, there was a time when I said to myself, I'm exhausted. And I was thinking my energy was something that I had no control over. Either I felt energetic or I didn't. But then I realized that I do have control and I can influence what I experience. And this is truth about all of the things in our lives. We can change anything we choose to change. But you have to have more than enough energy to accomplish the tasks that you undertake. So just tell yourself that. That's okay. You don't have to tell yourself you're tired. Just tell yourself, hey, I have enough energy. I can do this. And repeat that to yourself every time you feel exhausted or tired. And just get to work and do what you got to do. And you'll find that before long, your reality catches up to your words and you have enough energy. So as you can see, my friends, changing your beliefs and taking relevant action makes better outcomes possible. Now, my beliefs and actions as I went through my transformation after my second attempt at suicide really, really did change. And when I changed my beliefs and I went with some liberating truths, I changed my paradigm. And that's why I'm the paradigm changer now. Again, it's not magic. It's not like I was the first one to do it. And it's not like you can't do it. But keep in mind, it's not magic. Who needs magic when you already have what it takes to move the needle in your life? So let me ask you, what are your limiting beliefs? What are you going to do about it? It's coming up in the end of the year. What changes are you going to make? What things have you want to make totally different for next year? Now is the time to make the choice. And that's why I'm doing this talk tonight. I'm doing the next 3 nights talking about this concept of how to have the best year ever. It's something I've done, and it's something I continue to teach my clients, and it's something I continue to work on myself, because I am not perfect. I still do things wrong. I still do actually have limiting beliefs, and there are times, right? They could be beliefs about the world, others, or myself. But the thing is that I come back to the realization that what I believe and the actions I take have either prevented me from living the kind of life I want or enabled me to live the kind of life that I'm meant to live. It's all about what you believe and the actions you take. So, alrighty then. Now for truth number 2. You have more power than you think. The only thing missing is clarity. So, I firmly believe you can have the best year ever starting in 2022. You can actually start the plan right now, which is why I'm doing this talk. But I also believe and know that it's up to you. I can't do it for you. I can teach you how. I can show you how. I can give you the comments, the talk. I can even let you connect with me, and I will coach you through what has to be done. But whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. I'm not sure who said that, But I've heard that so many times, and it's so true. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right because it's what you believe. So wherever you are, please have the power to pursue a better future. Be an active participant in the outcomes you experience. Don't just let life rule you. Rule your life. That's what rules are all about. They either run you or you run them. So a lot of people are unwilling to admit this. They think they can't control anything, let alone everything. So they choose to control nothing. And of course, it's not necessary. You don't have to live this way. You can control the response to what happens to you. You do not have to be the victim, be the victor. Of course, as an example, a lot of people say they believe in God, but it's more like they believe in a kind of fate where God determines everything and their choices don't matter. So that kind of takes you out of the game. Now, this isn't a Bible lesson, but I think it's worth pointing out as an example. And this does come from the Bible. Okay, on 3 separate occasions, Jesus asked people, "What do you want me to do?" Of course, he asked that of the blind man, I'm trying to think of the Bartimaeus, I think it was. He also asked it of the 2 blind men on the road to Jericho, and he asked it of James and John when they came to him before his crucifixion. Think about this. What is interesting about these questions? Why did Jesus ask this question? He could do whatever he wanted. He is God. And yet he was unwilling to meet their needs until they got clear on what they wanted. This is also how the law of attraction works, my friends. You have to be in line with your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions. And they have to be all in alignment. You have to be clear on what you want. As a matter of fact, there are numerous passages in the Bible that teach you how to work with the law of attraction. They just don't call it the law of attraction, they call it faith. It's something that you need to believe in that will change your life. Either way, we're in the same boat today. Resources are not the issue. Those will come along as you need them. The universe will provide. God, Jehovah, Allah, whoever you want to believe in, the, that will happen. The question is clarity. Are you clear on what you want? This is what makes all the difference. So to move forward with this, to get rid of these limiting beliefs, to allow yourself to choose liberating truths, you need to get absolutely clear on what you want. There's no way around it. And to make this next year coming up your best year ever, you need to start with one simple question. What do you want? Whether you're a person of faith or not, it's a critical question because there's power in your choice. We're born with 2 things. We're born with awareness and we're born with choice. You are aware of what you want. You choose how you do it. And of course, if we choose to believe there's nothing left to win, there won't be, because that's what we believe. If we choose to believe the best is still ahead, get ready for an adventure. Now, finally, truth number 3. We have more resources than you could possibly imagine. Now, think of what we have out in this world today. All too often, we will focus on a lack instead of abundance. We focus on things not being enough as opposed to when they are actually more than enough. And of course, I don't know who of you people that are watching this, have you ever heard of Brene Brown? Well, she calls this a culture of perceived scarcity, where you actually believe there isn't enough. But I think you know what she's talking about here. You get up in the morning and the first thing you think is, oh, I didn't get enough sleep. Meanwhile, you just slept 6 or 7 hours. Or you go to bed at night and the first thing you think is, oh, I didn't get enough done. Meanwhile, you did lots of things through the day and many of them you did very well. It's just that you had a bigger list of to do than you had time to do it. And this is one of the things that I want to help you with. Part of the challenge is that all through each day, we're comparing ourselves to others. And that's a painful, painful way to convince ourselves that we can't do a good job, because we are watching other people that are learning what I'm teaching you and they're getting it done when you can too, my friends. And then all of a sudden we're painfully aware of the things that we haven't done. We think we're not as smart or creative or educated or successful or lucky, athletic or artistic as someone maybe on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. But this is false. It's bullshit, my friends. You're lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. The truth is, we live in a world of genuine abundance and prosperity. There's so much out there, so much we can have, so much we can do, and so much we can be. There's a world of resources that we need to pursue in order to reach our most important goals. They're there. You just have to be clear about it and take action. Remember the law of attraction. Remember what I'm teaching you here. Watch this video again so you can get clear on what I'm talking about. But our challenge is that we overload ourselves with comparisons, and we think we're living our lives in a deficit. I don't want you to think or plan for this next year out of a place of scarcity, because that won't work. That'll just bring you more scarcity. What I want is for you to start with a sense of gratitude. I want you to be thankful for the things that you have, not the things that you don't have. There's a million things we don't have, but there's a million things that we do have. Focus on liberating truth, not limiting belief. Don't worry about what you don't have. You don't have it. Focus on what you want and go get it. Think of this gratitude like a lens that amplifies everything good in your life instead of causing it to shrink away and become insignificant. Gratitude is the source of your attitude. And if you don't have positive gratitude, then you have negative feelings and you end up in negative attitude. In our day and age, looking around, it's the easiest thing in the world to fall into a scarcity mentality. But gratitude helps us cultivate a mindset of abundance. Please, my friends, have a mindset of abundance. It's not difficult. It's actually a very simple process. And this is what I'm teaching you here right now. And of course, it's critical that we get this message, because we won't get more of what we really want until we learn to recognize and express thanks for what we already have. So, to summarize, my friends, your future does not equal your past. That's from Tony Robbins, by the way. The future is a blank canvas waiting for you to design however you choose. But to do that, you have to embrace 3 truths about the future. Just 3, nothing more. And of course, 3 is a number of power. It's the number that Nikola Tesla obsessed over. And the number 3, 6, and 9 are the numbers that, of course, 9 is the most powerful number. Every number, there's a specific math approach that you can use, that every number works back to 9. I keep trying to learn it, and I keep forgetting it because I've got so much other stuff to do. But anyways, truth number 1. Your limiting beliefs are the only thing holding you back. That's it. Truth number 1. Your limiting beliefs are the only thing holding you back. Truth number 2. You have more power than you think. And I've mentioned this. All you need is clarity. Truth number 3. You have more resources than you can possibly imagine. And I've already chatted about this already in this call, in this on Go Live, in this session, in this opportunity for me to share with you how you have your best year ever starting now. Of course, first thing you need to do is pay attention to cynicism when it shows up in your thinking. Don't beat yourself up, my friends. Come on, stop spanking yourself and learn to thank yourself. When you go to bed at night, say, yes, there's things I didn't do, but man, oh man, the things that I did do, I did well. I had a great time with my kids or my grandkids, or I had a great time with my wife. I got this done in my business. I this many sales, whatever the case may be. But just recognize it for what it is, and remember, when it's cynicism drops in there, push it aside. Don't embrace it. Believe, my friends, that your future does not equal your past. What happened in the past is done. It does not have the power to define your future unless you give it that power. Second of all, make a list. Okay, here's something that I want you to do. Make a list of your top 5 limiting beliefs. Yes, 5. More if you want. If you've got more, by all means, write them down. But don't go less than 5. Because trust me, once you get going, you're going to realize, oh yeah, I've got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. And by the time you actually are finished the list, you're probably going to be up well over 5. I came up with 10. And I do this every year. And I still have limiting beliefs. But I'm able to manage it. If I haven't been able to get through something like this, I wouldn't be able to teach it to you like I am right now. But while you're writing this list down, leave a line between each limiting belief. There's a reason for this. But in the meantime, while you're writing down those limiting beliefs, be specific. And don't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Come on. This is serious. We're trying to change your life, your future, your abundance. You're trying to drop your limiting beliefs. You're trying to adopt some liberating truths. If you can't be honest with yourself, then you shouldn't be here watching me, because it's the only way it's going to work. Be honest, especially as it relates to your dreams and your aspirations and things you want to have happen in the next year. Of course, now place a check mark next to the ones that you want to change. If that's not all of them, then I'm pretty sure you've been lying to yourself. Third, cross out each limiting belief. Not so that you can't read it, but the act of crossing it out says, I do not believe in this limiting belief. And now underneath it, this is where the line underneath comes in, write a liberating truth about the limiting belief right underneath it. So on the top is the negative, on the bottom is the positive. Fourth thing you're going to do, make a list of the 3 areas where you really feel that you need clarity, the things that you're just like muddled on, and you're not sure what you're thinking or what you're feeling or what you want to do about it, because you need to get clear about what you want. And what is it that you need to get clear about what you want? You need the clarity. That's what's missing, my friends. So, and of course, if resources are not your main concern, then do it as if, the whole idea is that think about in abundance, and do this list as if resources were simply not an issue. You have the money, you have the time, you have the wherewithal, the desire, the choice, all these things that you need that are currently holding you back. Wipe them out and make this list like there is no concerns about what resources are. Now, next, this is list time. Finally, make a list of 10 things that you're grateful for right now, so that you can begin to plan and spend the next year in abundance, my friends. The very best time to complete your action plan is right now. And it won't take more than 30, 45 minutes, maybe longer. It depends on how much depth you want to go into, how much thinking you do. But now is the time to start. And remember, earlier when I said there was just one thing you can do about the past, well, here it comes. This is it. If you don't want to live the next year just like you lived the last year, and you really do want to change it, you need to plan to change it. This is the one thing that you need to do. You need to plan the change. You need to complete the past to create the future. And of course, that takes an effective after action review. This is something that businesses do. This is something the military does. This is something that sports teams do. An after action review. Watch the video. You can't watch the video over a whole year, but I'm talking about just think about what went wrong and what went right. Go through the year month by month. And I know it gets tough by the time I'm thinking back in January. What did I do in January? What I do is I go back in my calendar and I look at the things that I had scheduled in my calendar, and I went, oh yeah, I remember doing that. I really want to change that. So I'm going to, and that went so well. So, put that on your list. You need to understand the things that went wrong and the things that went right, because this is how you're going to know what to adjust and what approach you need to have for the future and how to adjust that approach. Of course, step 1 on an after action plan or review is to acknowledge and write down what you wanted. I said wanted to happen. It's time to get clear on what you did actually want to have happen, because you need to chart the gap between that and what actually happened. You need to know what you wanted to do. You need to want to know how it turned out, because you need to know the difference so you can do something about it. Now, acknowledge and write down what actually happened. Don't be shy. It's all about you anyways. You're the only one that's going to read it. I'm not asking you to put it online or put it, you can put it in your journal, put it wherever you want, write it down, put it in a Word document, whatever the case may be. But you can't complete the past until you've acknowledged what you've experienced, what you've been through, what you wanted to do, what you didn't do, the things that did become real, the things that, all of that stuff. You need to draw it out, write it out, so that you can actually read it and say, oh, yeah, I really got that right and I really got that wrong. You can't ignore it. You can't wish it away. And of course, whatever you have experienced over the last 12 months or even farther back, acknowledge it, my friends. If you try to ignore it, it's just going to come back and bite you in the ass. So acknowledge it. Be honest with yourself. Give yourself enough respect that you're not going to play any silly games. You're going to do what needs to be done. You're going to do it well. You can do it right. Take your time. Do it right. But step 3, learn from the experience. Learn your lessons. See how the lesson sits. Learn it. If you're not sure, talk to somebody. Say, you know what? I wanted to do such and such last year, and this is the way it turned out. This is what actually happened. What would you say is the lesson in there? But the catch is, you've got to be able to learn from your past experiences and put that learning to use. If you can't find a way to put that to use, then there's no point in doing the exercise. But honestly, I still benefit today from lessons I learned in the aftermath of every failure I've ever done. And most importantly, the suicides that I tried to commit. And if I can, I'm still alive. So I had to have learned something. And yes, I have. And of course, I've learned a lot. I've learned a ton. I've spent almost getting close to $100,000 on personal training courses and coaching and so on and so forth, and all the things that I needed to learn to get where I am now. And it's a critical part of completing the past. You need to learn those lessons. But remember, you need to observe what went wrong and also what went right, and how during that and through that your beliefs and behaviors contributed to the outcome. How is it what you believed and the actions you took, how did that make things happen? And of course, after you get through all this, you're going to realize, wait a second, I did really good. And I'm going to bet that you did better than you think for the most part. Now here's step 4. Adjust your behavior based on what you've learned. If something in your limiting beliefs or your beliefs or behaviors contributed to the gap between what you wanted and what actually happened, then that something has to change if it wasn't what you wanted. If it was what you wanted, then recognize it and keep doing it. The fact is that the gap will only widen and worsen unless you do this. The gap between the things that you wanted to do and didn't do is there. If you don't identify it, recognize it, learn a lesson from it, and choose to change it with this plan, then it's just going to come right around every year, and it's going to be 20 years later, you're still doing the same shit, still having the same problems. And you need to understand that it's not just enough to acknowledge the gap. You've got to learn from the experience. But the real truth is, if you don't change your behavior, you really are worse off than when you started. So use this after action review to improve your performance, to understand the gap, to understand what you didn't get done, to understand what you did get done, to understand the lessons that you learned, to understand the behavior you need to change. And my friends, don't just let all this gather dust on a shelf or get lost on your computer or a server somewhere. Don't let that happen to you, my friends. If you've come this far and you really want to make a change, then make a change. Now, right now, you can call it a day and carry on. Or, and what I mean by that is you can just take this lesson from today and think that, it's actually going to make a difference. And then I wish you luck, because it's a damn good start and it's a hell of a plan. But there's more. I told you about 3 days here, right? So you want to come back tomorrow, because that is when I'm going to be sharing with you 8 simple but powerful questions that are designed to help you process the past year and put you in a frame of mind to create your best year ever. And of course, if you want my personal help with that plan, give me a new plan in the comments, and I will connect with you and we will chat about what your challenges are. But in the meantime, my friends, this is all about making a difference for you, helping you get to that place where you want to get to make a difference for you, right? We all need help. We all need a coach. We all need that place to get to that. Say, hey, wait a second. I want to do this. I really want to make a change for myself, and this is how I'm going to do it. New plan January. You got it, Deborah. And I'm so happy that you hung in for that. Do you have any questions before I break off? It's at the end of the call, and I've gone for 40 minutes, which is a long time to be on a call. But thank you for hanging in there. And if you have any questions, by all means, put them in the chat. I will connect with you and show up tomorrow night, because I'm going to be going through those 8 questions. I'm going to be sharing with you how to really get clear on making this action plan that I just introduced you to really, really stick. And I might even create a document to share. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, in the meantime, this video is your review. You can watch it anytime. And I don't want to make it take too long. So thanks for sharing. Time for a new plan in January. And it's time to make a difference. It's time to change your paradigm, my friend. It's time to change your life. And you have a whole year to do it. And this plan will help you get there in spades. So, my dear friends, much love to you. And this is getting close to Christmas time. So I'm really hoping that everybody's good to go for Christmas. My daughter and our grandchild is going to be over on Boxing Day. So we're looking forward to having some great time with them. And the little guy, he's not even my first grandson, AJ, he's not even 2 yet. And he can cook his own eggs on the stove. Sarah, his mom, shared the video, and what a sweetheart. No shells in the egg when he broke the eggs out of the shells and put them in the pan, mixed them up with some cream, cooked the eggs in the pan, and ate them. And he can peel an orange. I guess it was a nectarine. No, I mean, excuse me, a clementine. What a good mom she is. And it's all, parenting is awesome. Having children is awesome. Being a child and having your parents around is awesome. If you don't have your parents anymore, I sure hope that as a parent or a grandparent, you're making the most of who you are and what you can be. And that's what this call is all about, my friends, is to make the best of what you are so that you can be the best for the people in your life. Much love, my friends, and we will see you tomorrow night.